Do you want no history of mathematics? Here's everything you need to know about the history of mathematics, ancient mathematics, starting with the counting systems developed in prehistoric times using tally marks, bones, like the Ishango bone from around 20,000 years ago. Then we have the Babylonians around 1800 BCE, using base 60 and doing advanced algebra. The Egyptians around 1650 BCE, using geometry to measure land and doing practical arithmetic as shown in the Rhind Papyrus. Pythagoras, around 572–495 BCE. The famous mathematician who discovered the Pythagorean Theorem and explored mathematical harmony, Euclid, whose work elements, around 300 BCE, systematized geometry and logical proof. Archimedes, around 287 to 212 BCE. The brilliant mathematician who calculated areas and volumes of various shapes, approximated pi, and made many other contributions. And don't forget the Chinese. For example, the 9 chapters, around 200 BCE, which included negative numbers and matrix methods. Indian mathematicians around the 5th century CE, who introduced the concept of zero as a number. Aryabhata, around 499 CE, who worked on algebra, trigonometry, and the value of pi. And the Mayan mathematicians who developed a base 20 number system and the concept of zero. Do you know more medieval Islamic mathematics? A golden age of mathematics? Khwarizmi, around 820 CE, the founder of algebra, from the Arabic word al-jabr, meaning to heal or to restore. Islamic scholars preserved and translated Greek works into Arabic, including the works of Euclid and Archimedes. They also developed the decimal positional system, which uses the place value of digits, and spread it to Europe via Islamic scholars like Fibonacci. Medieval and Renaissance Europe, starting with Fibonacci, Leonardo of Pisa, around 1202, who introduced Hindu-Arabic numerals to Europe. His famous work, Liber Abbasi, also documented the Fibonacci sequence. European universities began including mathematics in their liberal arts curricula. The development of perspective in art led to advances in geometry by artists and scientists like Brunelleschi and Alberti. Regiomontanus, around the 15th century, who made significant contributions to trigonometry and astronomy. Scientific revolution, starting with Descartes in 1596 to 1650, who developed analytic geometry, linking algebra and geometry using coordinates. Fermat, who contributed to number theory and had early ideas on calculus. Newton and Leibniz in the late 1600s, who independently developed calculus. Pascal and Fermat, who founded probability theory. And Isaac Newton, who used calculus for his laws of motion and gravity. Leibniz notation, dy dx, became the standard in calculus. 18th to 19th century advancements. Euler, from 1707 to 1783, who formalized much of modern notation, E, I, sigma, and made contributions to graph theory. Lagrange and Laplace, who advanced calculus and celestial mechanics. Gauss, from 1777 to 1855, who contributed to number theory, statistics, and non-Euclidean geometry. Fourier, who introduced Fourier series for solving heat equations. Galois, who developed group theory, laying the foundation for abstract algebra. And finally, Bolyai and Lobachevsky, who developed non-Euclidean geometry. Modern mathematics, 20th century, and beyond. Cantor, who revolutionized mathematics with his work on set theory and the concepts of infinity. Hilbert's problems in 1900, which outlined 23 major unsolved problems in mathematics. Gödel's incompleteness theorems in 1931, which showed the limits of formal systems. Turing in 1936, who created the foundation for computer science and algorithms. Von Neumann, who contributed to game theory and quantum mechanics. And modern cryptography, which is rooted in number theory, for example, RSA, which uses prime factorization. And of course, the Fields Medal, which was established in 1936 as the Nobel Prize of Mathematics. And finally, mathematics in AI and big data. Linear algebra, calculus, and probability drive modern tech like machine learning. This has been the history of mathematics in 100 seconds. If you want this turned into a timeline, poster, or presentation format, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.